work for us. So that's sometimes where we fumble, where it's not so great for us. We need a different approach for our brains. Otherwise, we get stuck and we wonder why things aren't working the way that we want. There's self doubt, overwhelm, decision fatigue, and some analysis paralysis. That's why I'm giving you my 5-part ADHD entrepreneurial business system because, after all, we are in business. It's going to help you break free from overthinking and give you a way to be more confident and take action in your business. And after all, if we want to work for somebody else, we would. We wanted to have a business so that we could have the freedom and autonomy and make the money that we want. If you want to go deeper, I'll have something for you at the end. So hang out until then. And if you don't know me, some of you don't, my name is Ingershaye Colzie. I'm an ADHD executive leadership coach. I primarily help Black women with ADHD to leverage their ADHD in order to have the life that they want. When they do that, they can be successful in business and in life and enjoy ourselves. I mean, that's why we're here. So with this 5-part system, it's really going to be able to help you to do the same for yourself, live the life that you want while running a business. The parts of the system are about energizing, clarifying, streamlining, and sustaining. So I can start with energizing, right? How do you use your energy? What do you do to have your brain be in the right state so that you can get your work done? So I've got questions to ask because I like to ask questions. It's kind of how it works for me and my brain to be able to help it focus and so that you can do the things that you want to do. So one of the first ones is, when do you do your work? Like, do you work when your brain is naturally wants to work during your high energy times, or are you working doing your high energy tasks at your low energy times? What is your peak day, your peak time, I should say, of day to work? That's something to really ask yourself and what you're doing during that time. Are you moving your body enough? We don't always move our bodies enough. Sometimes I know we need to get the wiggles out. Sometimes we want to sit and stay too focused. Also, exercise is one of the few things that we know for sure work almost as good as medication. So taking the time to move yourself around and get up out of your chair and take a time to like actually calm your nervous system down. That can really be helpful. And so what are you doing with your tasks, right? Like I said, your high energy times versus your low energy times versus your low energy times of the month, right? It's looking at how your energy flows and making sure that what you're doing matches that energy. Because if you don't, then you wonder why you're so tired and burnt out. And so when you think of this, what is a small change that you can do to be able to work more naturally with your actual energy flow, right? Because when we do that, it's going to help us to start making money, which is what we all want to do, and to sustain the money that we make. Like, we are a business. And so the next thing I think about is clarify, and that's like really a good one because I know it's something that we struggle with. I know I do. Clarifying what it is supposed to be doing. Because if I don't, then it leads to a lot of overthinking. There becomes a lot of self-doubt. It doesn't have me be as confident as I would like to do. So sometimes like ask yourself about, are you actually doing something that you need to be doing? Are you doing busy work? Or are you actually doing something that's more productive? I mean, like something that's a money making task, revenue generating, like profit lever action. Because a lot of times we think what we're doing are revenue generating tasks, and they really aren't. It's more of things that may have need to get done and have to get done, but they aren't necessarily things that need to be getting done at that day. self-doubt is a real thing. It's a real thing in business. I know I have it, my clients do. Sometimes when things aren't clear, it's when the self-doubt creeps in. Can I do this? Am I doing the right thing? Will this make money? And can I sustain what's happening, right? So self-doubt really creeps in because so many times we've been told that we can't do stuff or that what we're doing is not the right thing to do. And when you can clarify, for me at least, it takes kind of the self doubt monster and brings it down smaller. Oh, and I need a fidget to talk. Like, that's how things work for me. So, being okay with the things you need to do to make your business go, right? Sitting, talking, and having a fidget today is what's helping me to make things go. And I'm not worrying about what other people think about it. Streamlining. Part of the reason why I came out with this system, because streamlining is something I definitely had to do. I had too many things going on and it wasn't in any type of organized fashion. So it's like, how do you manage everything without being overwhelmed? Uh, our ADHD brains get overwhelmed sometimes so easily, and that's okay. So when you can streamline, it can take the struggle out of it. I mean, the struggle is real, but it can be one of the things that makes it so much easier to reduce the stress that you're having, um, and to just make this, you know, to keep this and have this a happy place to be instead of a place where you don't want to be. Um, so one thing is like, are you keeping all the things in your head? Like I know I used to kind of keep everything in my head. Think it was a great place. Let me tell you, your head's the worst place to keep all of your information. Um, Make sure you have an external place, not only just to write down the things that are going on, but all the ideas you have. We have some great ideas, but when we can have a place to park them, that means that we don't have to try to act on them all or try to remember them all at the same time. I like to use my phone and I like to use my notes app because it's always with me. That way I don't have to worry about it or just have little random pieces of paper. And that's really worked well with being able to have a place for that and using that more as that system. Do you have an organizational system? And a lot of times I think I don't. I'm sure a lot of people think that they don't, but I will say that you do. Um, it's the way that you organize, right? It's not the way that probably other people think it might be organized or they might understand your system, but you do have an organizational system. I always suggest that people look at the last task that they did or project they did and see what the organizational system really was. And then take that information, data. We always love it. It's something we can use to make things better in our businesses. And tracking data is another way to be able to make sure that you are doing what you need to do and you're making money in your business. So that type of data too is how am I organized? And then what can I do to either keep the parts of the organization that I like or add in different ways to organize that will make it better for you using your data and have it be so much help to you to be able to get where it is that you want to go. What's one small change that you can use, that you can do to change your workflow? Um, Sometimes it's hard for us to think about it, but I like to think about more in that the Eisenhower matrix, right? Which is automate, delegate, simplify, and eliminate. Which one do you need to do? Automate, delegate, simplify, or eliminate. It'll really help your workflow, and it'll help you to take more action, and it'll help you follow through. Because follow through can sometimes just be the hardest part for us. How do you activate? How do you take action in your business? How do you maintain an action and follow through? And so I know that sometimes when you feel like you're not taking action, again, like the self doubt monster pops up. myself included, being a Black woman with ADHD, sometimes beating down the self doubt monster is the thing that I need to do the most. Um, so what do you do? How do you take action? Like what allows you to get going? Do you wait for motivation to come to you, or do you go to the motivation? What I've learned is I can't wait for the motivation to come to me because it rarely comes. I have to go to the motivation. And so when I do something, when I'm in action, I automatically feel better. I automatically feel more confident. I automatically feel like I'm in charge. And when I feel like I'm in charge of myself and my business, that makes my business work so much better. Um, it's like what I know is to be able to sometimes get started. It's like I do ask people, what do they do to get started? How do you know? How's your body know to do the things that you know you need to do? Um, it's sometimes not easy. I feel like it's really not easy as an entrepreneur. What I do to kind of automatically make it happen is I go and make my coffee. I have the coffee that I really like, and then I make it a little too hot. So when I start to be able to really begin to drink it, then I know that it's really time to work. And what that does is it creates the momentum to keep going. And that's so helpful because at the end of the day, we're trying to work smarter. We're not trying to work any harder. Uh, Doing all this stuff sometimes with all the different things that are happening for us with ADHD, um, besides just business, with life and with home, and with friends, and with some of the things that we can't control. But we're trying not to make this any harder. So when you feel like, I just, how can I do this? I don't feel motivated. It's getting into action. Sometimes it's that 5 second rule. It's like, let me just do something for 5 seconds, or let me just do it for 2 minutes. Or can I just go and do the smallest thing I possibly can? Maybe it is to sit at the computer, or maybe just to leave the house to go to your business. Um, it all depends. But figuring out the thing that can make this automatic can really help you then to not have to work so hard to generate the energy to get some things done. Do you celebrate your small wins? You should. So many times with us with ADHD, we are so hyper focused and we're so like blazing through things. Um, Sometimes I think that can be helpful in having a business, right? When we can just kind of blaze through things. Sometimes we leave a wake up destruction we need to look at. But also, when we don't celebrate the wins that we have, then it sometimes makes it feel like, what am I doing? And is it worth it? Like, it also helps to keep the momentum going. I like to look at, I'm a big football fan, go Birds. And so, what I notice about football is like after every play, they high five each other and hit each other in the butt and they celebrate. Even if their team is down, if your team is down, they still celebrate their good plays because they know that keeping the momentum going, keeping yourself upbeat is the way to be able to have any way to be successful um, at keeping going. Especially, I love it when they are down and they do that because they know it's probably the only way to get back in the game or to be able to go to the next game with something to work with. And so that's something to look at in the real world way. How do you look at your wins? Do you look at all of them? Do you celebrate them? You should. With ADHD, we like to check them off the box and put them behind us. We forget. So reflecting on them is really important to do. What do you do for your self-care? If you don't take care of yourself, how are you going to take care of your business? Seeing yourself in the picture is the most important thing to be able to make this engine go. So how do you take care of your self-care? I don't always just mean like a massage or a facial or I'm down for mani-pedi, but what do you do for your self-care? What are some things you like to do that aren't business related? What are some things that you like to do that, keep you engaged? And are you eating, drinking water? like I said, moving around, exercising, sleeping, um, and taking care of your mind, right? Because your mind is also self-care. What do you think that you do to make sure that your mind is right? Um, and so your self-care is really important. I know sometimes people get tired of it, but if you don't take care of yourself, how are you taking care of anything else? So, what do you do for your self-care? Uh, Please answer that and answer it well, because it might be the difference between staying in business and not. What brings you joy? Do you have joy in your business? We didn't start a business to not have joy, but sometimes the day to day grind of what you have to do, sometimes you can feel like there is no joy. But what do you do to bring you joy? Again, so the way that we miss our wins is the way that sometimes we miss the joy, or we let the joy get sapped out of the business that we wanted to start. So, how can you make this joyful? What do you need to do to have that happen? Do you have a community of people to be around? Do you have somebody who's like an accountability partner or buddy? Do you have places where you can share the things that you go through as a business owner and people that get it? What does bring you joy? And do you have community? Like, we are not meant to do this alone. They keep trying to tell us that, yeah, you pull yourself by your bootstraps by yourself. I strongly disagree. We were never meant to do this alone. We do so much better when we support each other. And with ADHD, that can actually be the thing that can make or break our business, to make it break our lives. Being around other people who get it, understanding you, understanding the different ways that you need to run your business, um, understanding the way that you do stuff or not judging you for it, having somebody that can help with accountability with no judgment. That is so helpful with a business. Um, it's just amazing. And are you are you running your business the way that you would like to run it? So many times we try to run our businesses in the ways that neurotypicals do, or the way that we were told to do. Living in the shoulds, like, well, maybe I should run my business this way. Or maybe, if I do it this way, people won't understand it, and maybe I won't have clients, or people won't buy the things that I'm making, or, people won't like my services. It's like, I have lots of clients that come and they're wondering why the business, isn't joyful, or they're not making the money that they want, or maybe they're even making some of the money that they want, but they can't seem to hold on to it, or something's just wrong. And a lot of times it's because they're using neurotypical systems, or even if it's not neurotypical, just systems that don't work with their brain. And they're actively fighting to keep those systems that aren't working because they feel like they would be doing something wrong or incorrect, or um, they wouldn't understand, or that it would hurt their business by doing that. And when we try to do that, the energy it takes to try to work in a system that doesn't work for us, in a world that was never set up for us, is way too expensive of a price to try to run a business. And I will say, it'll probably keep you from being a business, because you'll either burn out, or you won't make the money that you need to make, because when you're not authentic to yourself, there's only so long you can do that um, in running a business. And we are business owners. And again, we started a business because we wanted to have something that was our own, something we could enjoy, something that would, sustain us and be there for us. So look at your systems, look at what you're doing, look at how you're running your day to day. Is that what you're doing to yourself? And if it is, what's one thing you can do to stop that? What's one thing you can do to try to change your workflow? What's one thing you can do to make this business more profitable? What's one profit lever action that you can do? What's one way that you can energize yourself, or work in a way like working with your energy systems? What are some of the ways that you can help yourself to have the business that you love and make money with it? I gave you a lot of questions here. It would be great if you played it back as many times as you need to answer them, and answer them over and over. And you can take that into your business and hopefully it'll help you to have a business you love that makes a whole lot of money, because that's why we're here. If that interests you, or you're looking at a way to go deeper with this, um, I am having a class where I take you through this process and a few more, and ways that you can take this process into your business to help you to have the business you love, making more money and having more joy. If that's something that interests you, then you can reach out to me. I'm on LinkedIn at Ingershaye. You can send me a quick email, ingershaye.com.